What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Gutenberg and will it break your WordPress website. The reason why I'm bringing this topic up is because Gutenberg is going to be the official editor for WordPress within the next couple of versions. Right now we are at WordPress version 4.9.8 and Gutenberg is slated to be released with WordPress 5.0. So it is literally right around the corner, maybe a month, 2 months away. But I'm assuming by the end of 2018, WordPress 5.0 will be released. So with that being said, Gutenberg is going to be one of the biggest updates to WordPress within the past 5 to 10 years. It is going to be a dramatic change for the way we create content on our websites. Whether you have a big WordPress powered enterprise website or if you have an everyday blog, the way to create content is changing. And are you ready? Do you know how Gutenberg is going to interact with your website, with your theme, with the plugins that you're using? Are you familiar with the new way to add content? And while the number one focus of the WordPress team, the core development team working on Gutenberg, is to make the experience of creating content on your website a seamless and fluid process. This process will be easy for some, for those who are used to other platforms who have this type of functionality already built in terms of creating content with blocks. But it might be confusing to people who have been familiar with the old way of creating content on WordPress. And that's with the TinyMCE Editor that we've come to know and love. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about how to test your website, how to get familiar with Gutenberg, and let's see what exactly it does. Will it break your website? Let's find out. Alright, so if you're not already subscribed to my channel, take a moment and hit that subscription button right there. And when the bell notification icon comes up, definitely consider smashing that bell. That way, whenever I create new content, you'll be notified. And on my channel, I create videos that are focused on how to manage a WordPress website, how to code WordPress themes. I do reviews of the most popular WordPress plugins, and pretty much everything you need to know about how to operate a WordPress powered website. Now, if social media is your thing, if you like videos on Instagram and Twitter and things of that nature, I have videos on those as well. If you go over here to most popular, one of my most popular videos is how to upload to Instagram from your computer. This is the first video I did on this topic, but I subsequently did a second video over here, which is also pretty popular. But this one shows some of the issues that people were facing with this video because the browsers had some cache issues. So in this video, I showed you how to work around that. So this is the video I definitely recommend watching if you want to learn how to upload to Instagram from your computer. And then you can see some of my other videos over here. And if you want to learn more about me, you can go to my website, pixelweb.com, go to my About page, and you can see how I actually became a web developer. How I transitioned from my old career, where I wore a suit and tie literally every single day, to a full-time freelance web developer. Alright, so now let's jump into this video and see if Gutenberg is going to break our websites. And let's just see how to work with it, because again, it's right around the corner. You don't want to save this to the last minute, and you still have some time. Alright, so for this demonstration, what I did is I downloaded a fresh copy of WordPress onto my computer here. I'm using my local host. I'm not using any special themes. I'm using the default themes. So every theme is going to be different, and I definitely recommend that you test out your website with the Gutenberg plugin and the theme that you're using, and also the list of plugins that you're using, because some plugins might have functionality that might not yet be compatible with Gutenberg. While some of the big names out there, like the Yoast SEO plugin, has been working day and night to try to make sure that their experience and the user experience with Gutenberg is going to be smooth, and in their latest releases, they're right on top of it. Some of the smaller plugins that might not be as actively developed might not work well. So you definitely want to test that out. You can test it out by downloading a local web server to your computer, and it's not rocket science. I have a video on how to do that. You go back to my channel, go to sort, go to date added. It's going to be this video right here. How to set up MAMP for WordPress development. Now, you don't need to be a coder for this. This just shows you how to set up a local web server on your computer and how to get WordPress installed locally, so that way you can play around with it. You can test things out in a safe environment and it won't impact your production website. That is very important. And then you'll just install your themes, you'll install your plugins. You can go to your website and you could always export your content. And a very easy way to do that, I'll demonstrate that over here. You go to your dashboard, you go to tools, you go to export, and then you can choose to export all the content that you have on your site, or just posts or pages or media, etc. And then you download an XML file for that. And then when you're ready to import, you go over here to the import option. You go down here to the WordPress and then Run Importer. If you don't already have the importer plugin installed, you'll have to install that. You just run the importer, you choose the file, and then you upload it to your local installation of WordPress. And that's it. That way you'll have a working version of your public website locally on your computer. Again, make sure you're using the same theme and make sure you're using the same plugins. Alright, so for this video, what I did was I already imported the theme unit test data also. That way I have content on the website itself. And we're going to see what happens when we install Gutenberg. Does it change our content? Does it change our experience? Or is it just for new posts? We're going to check that out. Now, right before you actually do this, because if you go to your dashboard, you're going to notice that, and you probably X'd out of it already or you dismissed it. If you want to go to screen options, you're going to have this option right here that if you already dismissed it, let's say we dismissed it, we could just add it back like that. So that's where you can get this widget area back. Alright, so you're going to see this here. And it's going to say a new modern publishing experience is coming soon. Take your words, media, and layout in new directions with Gutenberg, the WordPress editor we're currently building. You can test a new editor today. And if you're not quite ready, you can just continue to use the classic editor plugin. And I'm going to go into both of those real quick. But before that, one thing I definitely recommend if you're not going to be testing this out locally on your computer or on a staging site or test website, if you're going to actually test this out on your real public-facing website, then make sure you take a full backup of your site. Make sure you take a full database backup and make sure you take a full backup of all your files. I also have a couple of videos on how to do that as well. If you go to my channel, I have this video right here, how to manually backup WordPress, including your files, folders, and your database. And I have other videos as well on how to take backups of your site. You can take a look at my playlist over here. And if you go to this playlist right here, the recommended playlists, WordPress plugins, you can see some of the plugins that I've already reviewed. And in this playlist, there's 65 videos already. And I have this video here, how to back up your WordPress website, video number 44. And I think I have another one as well. There's a couple of other backup plugins that I want to review. Alright, so I have one on how to take a manual backup using FileZilla and PHPMyAdmin. And I also have the video on how to use a plugin for that. So definitely take a backup of your website before you actually install Gutenberg. Alright, so let's get started. So when you come here, you'll see this section here. From here you can install Gutenberg, or if you want to learn more about it, you can click on that button. I'll open it up right here. And this is where you can actually experience the Gutenberg experience without installing it. You have some of the functionality here. But let's go back here for now, and I'll come back to that later. So to install Gutenberg, you click on this button right there. It's going to go through the process of installing the Gutenberg plugin. Once it's installed, you can activate it. And you're going to see that you have this link over here, the Gutenberg admin link right here. So we have the demo, we have the support, feedback, and documentation. So in the demo, that's what we're seeing right here. This is what Gutenberg looks like. It gives you a demonstration of what the new editor looks like. So it says, welcome to the wonderful world of blocks. Click the plus add block button to add a new block. So that would be this button right here. There are blocks available for all kinds of content. You can insert text, headings, images, lists, and lots more. And then you can see any next tips it might have. You'll find more settings for your page and blocks in this sidebar. Click settings to open it. That will be this icon right there. And you see if you hover over it, there's going to be some keyboard shortcuts you might find. So for the settings, on a Windows computer, it's going to be Control plus Shift and then the comma symbol. On a Mac, it's going to be Command, Shift, and comma. But if you hover over it, you'll see what the shortcut's going to be. Now let's see the next tip. Click Preview to load a preview of this page so you can make sure you're happy with your blocks. So that's the preview button right here. See next tip. Finish writing? That's great. Let's get this published right now. Just click publish and you're good to go. That will be right there. Got it. This is the Gutenberg Editor. This is going to be the post or page name right here. This is the cover image. And if you click on the 3 buttons that are stacked on top of each other, you're going to see this widget pop up here. You can hide block settings. You can duplicate the block if you want with this keyboard shortcut, or just by clicking this button right here. You can insert before. You can insert after. You can edit as HTML. And you can add to reusable blocks. And if you want to remove the block, you can just click this button right here, or just use the keyboard shortcut that works for your operating system. Either Control Alt Backspace for Windows or Command Options Backspace for Mac. Just always double check the keyboard shortcut, and you can do that by just hovering over it or by viewing it in the settings area. Alright, so we have the cover art right here, the cover image. We have a text block, it's a paragraph. Again, if you click there now, you see you have some more options here. You could change the block type. You could change the alignment. You could change where it's going to be located. Right now it's here, but let's say you want to push that downwards. You could push it down. Let's see, do we get something here? Yes, over here with the cover art, we also have the change block type, the alignment as well. And if you want to edit the image. And if you want to move the image downwards, you can move it down. Let's see about moving this paragraph above the cover art. And that's how that works. Alright, so you see that every time you hover over a block area, right on top of it, you can insert a block either above it, or if you go to the next block, you can insert a block right above that one. So this is the demo. Now, if we go over here, we see the document, status visibility, visibility public, published date. You can make it stick to the front page, like a sticky post. Pending review. You have your category section here. You have your tag section right there. If you want to set a featured image, you could do so here. For the excerpt, you could do the excerpt right here. And any discussion, if you want to allow comments and pingbacks and trackbacks, you have that option there. For post format, depending on what your theme supports, will depend what's shown over here. Not all themes have support for post formats. Now for the block, we have no block selected, so let's select this one right here. So we selected the image block. They're worth 1,000 words. Insert a single image. Image settings. You can set the alt text over here. That's very important for search engine optimization purposes. And then the dimensions of the image, you can set that over here as well. Or you can use a percentage based. And if you need to reset it, you have the reset button right there. If you want a link to a media file, attachment, or a custom URL, you could use this select option right here. And then you can paste a URL there if you need to. Now for advanced, if you want to add additional CSS, let's say you're familiar with HTML and you're familiar with CSS and everything's looking great, but there's something you want to tweak a little bit. You can do that over here by giving it a CSS class. And then you can go about the process of editing some CSS. Alright, so let's scroll down over here on the demo page itself. So we see what it looks like with some of the features that are built into it. Now, embed support for Gutenberg is getting to be really good. They have obviously support for all the major embeddable websites, or websites that give you embeddable content, like YouTube, Vimeo, Twitter, and others. So you're definitely going to want to check that out. Alright, so now let's preview this here. We see how it'll look, and you can see how your content will flow. Alright. So that's the demo. But now let's see how it looks when we go to all posts over here. Alright, so we see we have all of our posts over here, right? So now when you go to edit a post, you can either just edit it by clicking the edit button. And now you see that even with your previous articles that you wrote, your previous posts and pages, it's going to bring you into the new Gutenberg editor. So if you're going to edit an older post, then it's always good to edit your old post because you may want to make the information more up to date and you want to make your content accurate. So what might have been correct last year might have changed today. So updating your content on your site is always a good idea. So if you're going to edit a post that you did, let's say a year ago with the classic TinyMCE Editor, now when you edit that post, it's going to be the Gutenberg Editor. And again, it's like the demo site that, or the demo post that we saw. Well, let's go to a different post over here. Let's go to that one. And you see we're still in the Gutenberg Editor. Again, if you want to edit something, you can just click into it like that. markup, HTML, tags, and formatting. So you could just edit like that. Let's say now you want to add a block under here, your insert block, and then you could either add an image, add a heading, or a gallery if you want. If you click on here, you'll see what other options you have. Let's say we want to add an image. You click on that one. You could either upload from your computer, or you could choose from your media library, or you could drag an image directly into this section here. So let's see how that works. I'm going to open up my File Explorer, and I'll go get an image that I want to add over here. Alright, so I'm using a secondary monitor, but I'm going to drag an image from my computer, from my File Explorer. I'm just bringing it in. And now we see that we have the image placed right there. And you see you could write a caption. And obviously I would love if you give this video a thumbs up. That'll definitely help the video out. But now you see you could easily just add an image in that way. Alright, so that's good. Very simple. Alright, so let's update this now. Alright, so now we could view the post and see how it updated. And we see we have the image right there as we anticipated. Then we can go to Edit Post. Now one thing you could also do is go to the block section here. Again, it'll determine or show you what settings you have available based on the block you're using. Now if you want to go over here to the settings section, you could toggle the sidebar on or off to get a more distraction-free experience. If you go here, if you want to go to the code editor itself, you can either just hit this link over here, this button, or you can use the keyboard shortcut that's available for your operating system. For Windows, it's Control-Shift-Alt-M, and for Mac, it might be Command-Shift-Option-M. I might be incorrect on that, so definitely just double check that. So let's go to the code editor and see what the markup looks like. Alright, so we see that we added that image there. And if you look at your previous content, any images that you might have added before, you might not see these comment blocks. And these comment blocks right here, let me increase the size of the page. These comment blocks right here are Gutenberg specific. So that's what you see here. But if you scroll down, it doesn't seem like there was any changes made within your other content. Let's see if that's the case with all of our posts. Let's take a look at a post that we haven't edited yet. Let's see this one. Let's go back here, and we're already in the code editor, so it's saved our selection there. So if you want to go back to the other one, you choose that. Alright, so looking at this one here, I don't see any Gutenberg specific blocks made. And that makes sense because we haven't edited this blog post. Let's take a look at one with images. This one is supposed to have an image in it, so let's take a look. Let's see on the visual side. Alright, so we have this image right here. And you see the image there. Alright, so none of the changes or additions of any Gutenberg specific comments have been added to your content or your older content. It's only going to be added whenever you create new content. So that's good. That ensures that it doesn't break anything previously, which it shouldn't, but you just never know. Alright, so that's good. Let's go back to the visual editor. Let's see the pages, all pages. And now what happens if you want to take a look at the classic editor? Let's go back to all pages here. Besides just editing a post or page, if you don't want to use the Gutenberg editor, you could always just choose the classic editor itself. And then you go back to that one. The classic editor will be displayed over here. And this is the one that we are all familiar with. So you can switch back and forth between the Gutenberg editor and the classic editor, and you can get familiar with some of the changes because you might not realize something's missing until you go back and forth. So that's something you definitely want to do. You're going to want to make sure that you're aware of anything that might be missing within your ability to add posts or pages when it comes to certain meta boxes or things of that nature, because some plugins will give you features that work with the TinyMCE or the classic editor but just doesn't work yet with the Gutenberg editor itself. So that's something you want to be aware of. Alright, but now let's actually create a new post from scratch. We've already looked at the demo of Gutenberg itself, and we also looked at some older content and did a little bit of editing of our older content. Now let's actually create a brand new post. So here we're going to add our title, pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to call it the new Gutenberg demo post. And right here it says we could write our story. But what if we actually want to put in an image first? Well, you can just use the image right here. You could either upload it or choose from your media library. I'll choose that selection. Let me choose a large one. Choose that one right there. Select. All right, so we have our image there. Now, what if we want to change that image out? We could always click the edit image, or we could choose a different image. Let's say we're going to choose that one right there. Select. And this one has a caption area. You could change the caption if you want. You could edit it, or you can delete it. You can format it, and you can make it linkable. All right, now we can go down here, and you see you have the plus icon here to add a block. We can add a new block. We could either choose an image block, a paragraph, heading, gallery, list, quote, audio, cover image, or file. We have inline elements over here if you want to have an inline image. A common block or common blocks. These are the common blocks that people would typically use. Formatting. If you're going to format code, classic, custom HTML, pre-formatted, pull quote, table, verse. They do have some basic table support here too, so that's pretty cool. Layout elements. You have your button. They have some basic button features here, so you don't have to actually use a plugin for that. If you want more advanced buttons on your site, then you might still need to use a plugin if your theme doesn't support it and if it's not already baked into Gutenberg. But for basic buttons, you can choose that here. So let's try that. I'm going to choose the button and I'm going to say, why not put a link to my YouTube channel? And then here we can add the text. So I'm going to say subscribe. And let's say we're going to have it centered, aligned, and make it bold. Not sure if that'll work. We'll see. Let's preview it. Okay, so it didn't make it bold, but we have a simple button here, so that's pretty cool. All right, so we don't need that bold. See if that really did do something or not. Nope. All right. But now we have a button right there, so that's pretty cool. All right, so now let's go over here. Let's add a paragraph of text. Now, I'm just going to add some lorem ipsum. I'm going right here. I'm just going to grab a paragraph of generate lorem ipsum. I'm going to copy that. Go back here. Now, no headings needed. Remove that block. That's how you do that. Add it here. Let's add the paragraph. And there we go. I just added my content. So now you see that when I copied it from the lorem ipsum site, right here, it already had paragraphs built into it, right? So it had this first paragraph, that one, and it had 5 paragraphs. When I pasted it into the Gutenberg Editor, it automatically recreated those paragraphs. So we have the first paragraph as a block here, and then we have another paragraph block over here. So they're individual blocks. So that's how Gutenberg works with paragraphs. Everything's going to be an individual block. All right, so I pasted that in. Let's say over here, I want to add a heading. So I'm going to add a heading here. Heading 2. Enter. All right, so now we have that. And let's say over here, I want to add an image. Click on that. Media library. Let's say I'm going to choose that one right there. So we have that. But wait, let's say I want to move this image down one over here. I could just toggle this move down button, and now it moved it down. Let's preview. See how our changes look. All right, so everything's looking as it should. Gutenberg is actually not that hard to work with. But the thing is, you definitely want to get familiar with it. You want to test it out. Make sure your website's not going to break when converting to Gutenberg. Now, let's take a look at the code editor. We see we have the common blocks that I mentioned before. Now, everything or every block is going to have these comment sections. These are commented code that the WordPress engine is going to be looking for to determine how to format something. Besides the regular HTML tags or elements you see here with the paragraph tag or the H2 tag, you also have the commented out areas. All right, so let's go back up here. We're going to get our settings back. And with this, we can see what we currently have. But if we want to go over here to this icon, we currently have the unified toolbar. Let's see what happens if we choose this option, the spotlight mode. All right, it seems to have grayed everything out. So now you could just focus on a specific area. If you go back to here, unified mode, Take Spotlight off. And now everything is not grayed out. So I guess that's another way to have some distraction-free editing of your content. Alright, let's see what else we have. We also have this over here. Let's see what that is. So that gives you some information about your content. So with the classic editor or the TinyMCE editor, we would always see the word count towards the bottom. Well, here we can see the word count here. We have 462 words, 1 heading, 5 paragraphs, 9 blocks in total. And then you also get a document outline. So we have the title, new Gutenberg demo post, and the heading, and that's the document outline. So that's pretty good if you want to see how your content is shaping up. Alright, so let's publish this over here. You're going to get this notification here. Are you ready to publish? Double check your settings, then use the button to publish your post. Choose the visibility, the publish date if you want to publish it at a different point in time, and any suggested tags you might want to use. Once you have everything done, click on publish. It'll publish it. You get the link right here. You can copy it. It'll copy it to your clipboard, or you can view the post. And now we see we have our post there. Very easy. So now let's say you're playing around with Gutenberg and you don't like it. Let's say it's not supporting any of the features that you're using on your website with some other plugins that haven't quite updated yet. Well, plugin developers now have the ability to make sure that their plugins will work. WordPress will know whether or not their plugin supports the Gutenberg editor, but it's on the plugin developers' shoulders in order to make sure that they update their code. But let's say you want to go back to the old editor. What can you do? Go to Dashboard, and you can install the classic editor. The new editor will be enabled by default in the next major release of WordPress. If you're not sure how compatible your current themes and plugins are, we've got you covered. Install the Classic Editor plugin to keep using the current editor until you're ready to make the switch. So I'm just going to open that up in a new tab. Let's take a look here. So the Classic Editor plugin will bring that feature of the TinyMCE or the Classic Editor back to you. And you see it's very popular, 5-star reviews, and recently updated. Alright, so let's install that one. Install the Classic Editor plugin. It's installed. Let's activate the Classic Editor. Alright, so now we're back to the Classic Editor. Let's take a look at our post. Let's edit this one here. Now you see we don't have that other option that we had before, giving you the option to use the Classic Editor. That's because we already have this plugin installed. So let's edit this here. We see our information's right here. Let's go to the code view. You still have the comment blocks from the Gutenberg editor itself. That is still here. Now, does that impact your content? Let's see. View the post. Well, the button doesn't work the same. We don't have the same styling for that, but it is still a clickable link. And it doesn't seem to change anything on the front end. So we go back here. You also see you don't have that Gutenberg link in the admin section here. Go to plugins, let's see. We have Gutenberg there, but we also have the Classic Editor plugin there. Let's go to settings. So right here within your settings and writing, we have the Classic Editor settings. Replace the Gutenberg editor with the Classic Editor, or we could choose to use the Gutenberg editor by default and include optional links back to the Classic Editor. So we could toggle that, save changes. Now we get the Gutenberg link back. We see the demo again. If we need support for it, you can click on this link. You can see the support track. That should actually open up in a new tab. Whenever a link is going to take you to a new website, at least for me, I like that to always open up in a new tab so that way you're not actually leaving the current site you're on. So I would just right click that, open link in new tab. And you see the support form over here. If you want to leave feedback, obviously Gutenberg is being actively developed and the developers are working hard to make sure that it doesn't break your website. But they need feedback from people, so you have to be able to give your 2 cents about how you feel about the editor. What you like about it, what you don't like about it, things of that nature. And then if you want to look at the documentation, let's open that up. This is the introduction and the handbook for Gutenberg itself. You can get a full rundown of everything related to Gutenberg. So that's good. Now what happens if you just take a look at the install plugins and you deactivate? And let's deactivate this one as well. Let's go to posts, go to edit. We see we have our classic editor back as well. Now, this happens currently because obviously Gutenberg is a plugin. In the future, it's not going to be a plugin. It'll be baked right into WordPress Core. So you won't be able to deactivate it in that manner. That's why they created the classic editor plugin. But currently, you could deactivate it in that manner. But now let's say you want to play around with Gutenberg without installing it locally on your computer or without testing it out on your site. What are your options? Well, let me get out of some of these tabs here. You can go to wordpress.org/Gutenberg and you can get some basic understanding of how it works. You can add new blocks. Some of the same things you were able to do on your website, you can do here right within the browser and not on your actual website. So this can be a way for you to get familiar with Gutenberg without actually having to change anything on your site. So definitely check out wordpress.org/Gutenberg and you can see how some of this stuff works. Get some of the same features that you would elsewhere. You can also edit the HTML. Things of that nature. Now there's another site that you could check out as well, and that is, let me increase the size of this page here. You can go to frontenberg.tomjn.com, and this also gives you the ability to play around with Gutenberg, but not on your website. So you can get a feel for it, and it gives you an actual back-end view of it. Some of the same features you would have on your site. So both these websites are going to be good for you to play around with Gutenberg to get familiar with it and to make sure that your theme, your plugins, and your website is ready for WordPress 5.0 when Gutenberg is the official editor. You don't want your website to break. You don't want to find out last minute that things aren't going to work as you expected. It's better to learn these things earlier on. Now, if your theme and plugin doesn't work with Gutenberg as of now, what can you do? Well, the first thing I recommend is to contact the developer. Let them know that you want to have those features updated to support Gutenberg. And if they're non-responsive, if they're not adding the support for it, or they're no longer maintaining the plugin or the theme, then you may want to consider a different solution, because obviously it's important to have your content and your website up to date, using modern coding standards and supporting the current version of WordPress. Alright, so hopefully you found this video helpful. I just wanted to make sure that you are getting ready for this massive, major change that's coming right around the corner. Depending on when you're viewing this video, it could be happening by tomorrow, or it could be a couple of months from now. The point is, you want to get ready. You want to make sure that your website will work and continue to function without limitations once Gutenberg is the official editor. Either test out Gutenberg locally on your computer. You can check out my video on how to install a local web server. You could also check out my video on how to use the duplicator plugin in order to duplicate your live website or public website and then go through the process of setting it up locally. You still need a local web server, but at least you'll be able to duplicate your production website. And that's just like having a backup of it. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Again, I create videos that are dedicated to WordPress and how to code. And I also have videos on search engine optimization, social media marketing. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Smash that notification icon again, because when I create new content, you might want to get notified. If you have any thoughts or ideas or comments, leave them down below. And I will see you next time. Take care.